Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has essentially failed his state when it comes to the distribution of the coronavirus vaccine. In fact, if you've been paying attention to what's been happening in the state, you're likely to have noticed long lines of elderly people who camp out overnight in order to get access to the vaccine. Now, at this point, according to what officials in Florida are saying, their frontline medical workers have received the vaccine, and now they can expand the program to also include senior citizens who don't live in long-term care facilities. However, seniors are forced to camp outside overnight for a vaccine that they might not even receive because they run out so quickly. And Ron DeSantis isn't happy about being asked questions about this situation. He had a little bit of a temper tantrum recently during a press conference. Let's take a look.
Governor, what has gone wrong with the rollout of the vaccine that we've seen phone lines jammed, websites crashing?
There's a lot of demand. I mean, I think at the end of the day, excuse me.
If I could finish my question.
You just said what has gone wrong, so I'm answering the question.
If I could complete the question, though.
So you're going to give a speech, or are you going to ask a question?
With all due respect, Governor,
you asked the question. I'm going to answer it.
I'm trying to finish my question.
No, you're giving a speech. You asked the question.
I am trying to ask you the.
You're going to ask how many questions? You get 3? They only got 1 question. Why do you get 3?
With all due respect, Governor, I'm just asking if I could finish my question.
You didn't. You finished the question.
I did not. My full question is, what went wrong with the rollout of the vaccine when we've seen phone lines jammed, websites crashing?
So you're repeating your question.
To complete it for you, Governor, we've seen websites crash and also senior citizens waiting overnight for the vaccine.
Where was that at?
We've seen it in Duval, Broward, Orange, and Lee County.
And why was in Lee? Why did that happen? Did you investigate why?
That's my question to you, Governor. You're the governor of the state. I'm not the governor of the state.
Okay, but you didn't investigate why that happened, in Lee County. Why was there a big line? Did you investigate why?
Now, Ron DeSantis is purposely evading the question. There's no question about what he's doing there, especially when you take a look at how they've treated reporters who have filed Freedom of Information Act requests in order to get some more information about the distribution of the vaccine. In fact, let's go to the second graphic here, where it was reported by Vice that the state told Vice after they had filed a FOIA request, it has the records, but said that they'd have to pay nearly $17,000 in order to get them. The fee, the Florida Department of Health said, is for $36 per hour for 470 hours worth of work, plus an IT charge and a fee for public records staff time. The Florida Department of Health has not responded to Vice News's request to justify the fee. So they're charging exorbitant fees toward reporters who are just trying to get some more information about the rollout of this vaccine in the state of Florida. And it's just beyond shameful because remember, Ron DeSantis, he kicked off this pandemic with showing us how he doesn't even know how to wear a mask. He prematurely opened up businesses in his state. He has been incredibly unapologetic about the insanely high numbers of people living in Florida who have contracted the virus. They have conducted a raid against a former public employee who was accumulating data regarding coronavirus. They wanted to suppress that data, and so she ended up getting pushed out. And then later, when she was releasing data on her own as a private citizen, they raided her home. So they're trying to prevent information from getting out there, which is so incredibly irresponsible and dangerous during a pandemic. And Ryan, again, I want to go to a discussion about consequences. Seems like Republican lawmakers, whether it's in a state level or federal level, they're just so defiant and unapologetic about everything they engage in. Hundreds of thousands of Americans dead from coronavirus, and they think everything's fine. They keep having their parties indoors without masks.
Right, and DeSantis famously went to war with the whistleblower from his own health department, who was warning that things were much more out of hand than the state was letting on. This is a problem that our entire country is having, though, and part of it has to do with this. You actually see the same impulse from the media that around the PPP, if you remember. So when they passed the paycheck protection, the thing that the media did is they went around and tried to find any company they could that wasn't obviously in need of this money, rather than saying, look, we're facing a Great Depression because the entire economy is shut down, and what we need to do is get this money out the door as fast as possible to as many workers as we possibly can. You kind of see the same attitude now, which is like everybody needs a vaccine, but what the media is focused on is trying to find people that might have skipped ahead in line, and what it's leading to are doses being thrown in the trash across the country, which is just absurd. In DC, what the city is allowing places to do is if a dose is getting near expiring, then just give it, just shoot it in the nearest arm, the nearest willing arm, which is so much smarter than tossing it into the trash. You have Andrew Cuomo in New York, who threatened $1 million fine to any hospital that administered a dose of the vaccine to somebody out of the tier system. Then he yelled at hospitals and said that they'd also be in trouble if they allowed any doses to expire. And so our unwillingness to kind of just let go and just vaccinate everybody as fast as possible is just going to end up prolonging the pandemic and end up leading to more death in all the different tiers.
I mean, our response to the pandemic has been so embarrassing. I mean, when you take a look at how our numbers compare to other countries on the international stage, it just shows you how much of a failed state we're living in. And it is the feature, it's not the bug. There is a reason why we quickly ran out of hospital beds, and it's because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't turn a profit to have empty hospital beds that are just there in case of a pandemic. And speaking of hospital beds, Los Angeles County has already run out. You have ambulance services that are picking and choosing who they'll transport to the hospital. So this is a real story. It was reported recently that if they come across a patient that is unlikely to recover from coronavirus, they won't transfer them to the hospital because the hospitals are too full. This is the situation we're finding ourselves in. This is the richest country in the world. We have unlimited resources and we can't get this right.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if in March and April the system was caught off guard, and you could say, yeah, it's the just-in-time system. It's cutting corners everywhere. But 9 months later, to still be unprepared, Los Angeles just sounds like an awful place right now. I hope you guys are keeping safe out there. But what happened in California? How did they bungle this so badly?
Well, it's interesting. California has no problem implementing strict orders, and Gavin Newsom did implement strict orders again. Businesses had to shut down. You're not allowed to do any outdoor dining. You can only do carry out, for instance. But the policies that have been implemented are asymmetrical depending on which industries we're talking about. So restaurants have had to shut down, but production companies are still, filming TV shows and movies, and people are getting exhausted from stay-at-home orders. So there have been a number of big stories where authorities have busted these underground parties, and there are also some businesses who have gotten caught doing these private invites to some of their customers, and encouraging them to dine indoors and have these little parties indoors. And look, the fish rots from the head down. When Gavin Newsom breaks his own rules to meet with lobbyists in Napa Valley, people are gonna see that and think, oh, maybe this pandemic is just BS, and if he can go do it and he's safe, why can't I go, meet with my family members for the holidays? I think all of those factors play a role in the skyrocketing numbers in California. Plus, we're densely populated in certain regions, including Los Angeles County.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that All you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.